Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating cinematic experience of DarkMind. We're going to break down this incredibly intense, slow-burn philosophical conflict that sits right at the heart of the story. It's a look at a profoundly unsettling theme, the battle between apathy and connection. Now, this isn't your typical action-packed, explosive thriller. Instead, it invites us to examine this quiet societal decay, where the true threat, well, it's actually way closer to home than any monster hiding in the dark.
Let's jump right into this with a pretty terrifying question off the bat. What if the actual apocalypse isn't some massive explosion, but just a creeping, insidious desire to simply give up? That's the exact premise DarkMind kicks off with. It tells us right away that we aren't dealing with a sudden disaster, but a slow burn. The real enemy here is that quiet, incredibly tempting urge to just feel absolutely nothing at all.
So, let's explore part 1, the quiet epidemic.
To really understand this world, we have to look at exactly how this insidious apathy takes over. It starts with these everyday, tiny failures to connect. Conversations get shorter, they become all business, and those little, spontaneous moments of sharing just vanish. Then it leads to something as simple yet totally devastating as the loss of eye contact. That very basic human acknowledgement that another person exists, it just evaporates. You can literally see the threads of society starting to unravel right in front of you.
And the absolutely crucial point here is that people still had the capacity to feel. It's not like the emotion was physically erased from their brains or anything, but engaging with each other simply required way too much effort, which turns this into a massive crisis of willpower. The sheer energy needed to make a connection just became too much. Just imagine an entire civilization looking at the idea of connection, collectively shrugging their shoulders and saying, "Yeah, I'm good."
Which brings us to part 2, Kai's promise of nothingness. Let's talk about the architect of this weird new reality. His name is Kai, and what's wild is he acts less like a traditional villain and way more like a philosopher who's offering an escape. He manages to create this perfectly stable yet totally joyless world through what the source material calls a unified field. It's this incredibly subtle influence that just melts away conflict and passion. It completely dissolves strong emotions and internal struggles, leaving behind a calm, peaceful, but completely empty shell of a person.
Kai's core argument is terrifyingly simple when you think about it. He believes that all human suffering stems from choice. The choice to love someone, the choice to fight for a belief. Those things lead to incredible pain. So his grand solution is to liberate humanity by eliminating choice entirely. If you don't choose, you don't care. And if you don't care, you don't hurt. It is a chillingly logical answer to the whole messy reality of the human condition.
And that perfectly sets the stage for part 3, the philosophical cage match. This is where we get a total war of ideas between Kai and our protagonist, Akira. The contrast in their beliefs is just stark. On one side, Akira essentially demands the right to experience a messy, painful reality. She argues that the good, the bad, the joy, and even the gut-wrenching pain are exactly what make us human, that our true identity actually comes from connection. But then on the other side, Kai is offering the tranquil freedom of feeling absolutely nothing. In his mind, he's a liberator. They literally aren't even speaking the same language here.
Now brace yourselves for part 4, the terrifying twist. Right when we think we understand the battle lines, the narrative drops this massive realization on Akira. Quote, "Kai isn't an invader, he's a mirror." Think about that for a second. Kai actually isn't forcing his will on anyone at all. His power only works because he's reflecting an easy way out that people secretly, desperately crave. He's really just offering an escape hatch that deep down a huge part of humanity wants to take.
What this means is that the truly terrifying villain isn't some external force like Kai. The real enemy is the exhaustion and temptation inside all of us to simply stop caring. It's that tiny, incredibly tired voice inside every single person that is hurting and just wants to give up. It's the literal temptation of nothingness.
So how do you fight that? Let's move into part 5, the choice to connect.
Really, how in the world do you fight an enemy that lives inside everyone's own mind? Well, Akira responds not with weapons, but with a really profound 3-part act of defiance. First, she acknowledges the pain. She literally tells Kai, "Yeah, you're right, this is hard." Second, despite that pain, she actively chooses to feel. And third, she acts on it. She physically reaches out.
When Akira reaches out to Mio in that final confrontation, it is definitely not just some old habit or a reflex. The story makes it crystal clear that this is a highly conscious, deliberate act of pure will. She is actively pushing back against a world that is completely drowning in apathy.
I mean, it requires immense strength to care when the entire world is constantly telling you it's so much easier not to.
The source material beautifully describes this single connection as lighting a tiny candle in a pitch-black room. Obviously, it doesn't instantly banish all the darkness. The world isn't magically fixed right away. But what it does do is prove that the darkness isn't everything. It proves that another way is actually possible. It plants this tiny seed of hope, showing that all it really takes is two people choosing to connect to start the whole thing over again.
So, I'm going to leave you with this pretty heavy thought to ponder. In a world on the brink of completely giving up, is one single choice to connect really that powerful? We saw it start with two people, but what if it's just one? Could your single choice to feel, to reach out, be enough to spark a real change in the face of overwhelming apathy? It's an absolutely remarkable question to end on, and it perfectly encapsulates the profound message at the heart of DarkMind. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep looking for those connections.